हर जगह लाल बत्ती, whenever I used to go to his office, मुझे हर जगह लाल बत्ती गाड़ियां ही दिखती थी, मुझे क्रेज हो गया. And the bureaucrats are the people who actually take decisions, and they are responsible for making the things happen. Very first thing I would say, UPSC is an exam which has lot many uncertainties. This is a plunge. Civil services is a plunge. Income Tax Act basically is a bible for all the income tax officials of the country. Gaurav, power for me basically means lot of responsibility. So power to me means taking decisions with considering full responsibility for those decisions. I'm a learner right now also. It's not that you stop learning in your life. Success is something which you don't get it in one single day.
SWOT analysis is basically strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. The mental training that you require is nothing but the determination. Small micro wins basically leads to staggering results. First interview 80 marks, second interview 114, third interview 196 and fourth interview 219. Best strategy to write answers is to prepare a good khichdi.
I am your host Gaurav Garg and we welcome all our viewers to our show Amazing Mentor. Today with us is Mr. Manpreet. He is a member of Indian Civil Services and has been an tax administration with Government of India. He was stationed in Mumbai, the financial capital of the country, for a decade, and over the past 12 years he has developed hand-on expertise in criminal investigation, digital forensic assignments, transfer pricing, and various other nuances of direct taxation. He lived by the motto small daily micro wins when done continuously over time lead by staggering results. It is with his belief he is currently studying public policy and administration at the School of International and Public Affairs, Columbia University, New York, with a focus to enhance his data analytical skills and critical thinking. It's a pleasure to welcome Mr. Manpreet to our show, Amazing Mentor. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for that kind introduction. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here.
So tell us about your childhood and any particular childhood memory that you would like to share on our show.
See, Gaurav, I belong to the city of Lucknow, the city of Nawabs. See, in the childhood, I have been into athletics completely, and these are such fond memories that I have carried with myself throughout. And during my school days also to play, I had a lot of interest in cricket earlier. And from cricket, I developed a lot of interest into sprinting, running, and quick running, in fact. So when I was in the 8th standard in my school, I started participating in a lot of competitions, and especially in 100 meters. Initially when you start all these competitions, you don't realize what is your main skill. So over a period of time, I realized that 100 meters is something wherein, I'm performing really well and I really like doing this thing. So by the time I reached 10th standard, 11th standard, I got an opportunity to play 2 nationals, and I reached the national level as well in 100 meters. So these childhood memories I can never forget.
So any notorious memory जहाँ पे पिटाई हुई हो बचपन में अच्छी तरह?
नहीं, notorious memory I would say cricket की बहुत ज़्यादा रही हैं. बिकॉज क्रिकेट के लेकर मतलब हम लोग इतना ज्यादा सेंटिमेंटल होते थे शुरू में बचपन में. एंड उस टाइम पे मॉर्निंग में 5:30 वी हैड टू कैप्चर द पिच. एंड उस टाइम पे एक हमारा ग्राउंड था वहां पर, और ग्राउंड इतना ज्यादा डिमांड में था. देयर वर सो मेनी चाइल्ड ग्रुप्स हु वर एमिंग दैट पर्टिकुलर पिच. वो 5:30 बजे exactly whichever group used to have that their stump on that ground, the pitch used to belong to that group. तो कई बारी उसको लेकर मेरे को बड़े पंगे हुए हैं घर में यार. मतलब पढ़ाई के लिए उठना नहीं है, लेकिन क्रिकेट है तो भाई आप 5 बजे भी उठ जाते हो सुबह, और पढ़ाई के लिए उठाना है तो 9 बजे भी नहीं उठ रहे हो आप. Those things have happened. But I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I had a good time.
What about your educational background, schooling and higher education?
So Gaurav, education-wise, like in 10+2, I had science background. I had taken PCM, and in PCM, I was doing really well in my school. I was the topper in my school. And after my 10+2 in science side, I always wanted to go for civil services. मेरे को 10+2 में ही दिमाग में आ गया था कि यार मुझे civil services ही तैयारी करनी है. But again, हुआ क्या? I'll tell you this thing little later. थोड़ा सा misguidance वहाँ पे कहाँ पे आई. But educationally speaking, like after 10+2, I did my graduation, Bachelor of Arts from Lucknow University. And with subjects like political science. I had ancient history and Hindi. So these three subjects I had in my graduation. And after that, post graduation, I did in sociology, MA sociology. I did. After MA sociology, I did my MBA from Amity Business School, Lucknow, and in marketing and international business. After that, my education didn't stop there actually, although I had a small job stint in between. But my education didn't stop because when we got into IRS, and we had to mandatorily take up this course of MTBL, Masters in Taxation and Business Laws. So MTBL I did. So that was like my third masters, and the one I'm doing right now is my fourth masters, Masters in Public Administration, which I'm pursuing at Columbia right now.
तो क्या इंसिडेंस था जिसमें आपके दिमाग में आया कि ठीक है अब मेरे को यूपीएससी की तैयारी करनी चाहिए?
Actually, incidents kya tha? See, my father was in government service and he was in UP Secretariat. Or my father was not in civil services. He was a chief accountant in the education department. अब वो education department थे and my father was solely responsible for preparing salaries. मतलब वो सबकी salaries बनाते थे basically. अब जो बंदा salary बनाता है तो उसकी ना reach बहुत ज़्यादा होती है. मतलब everybody knows him and the person also knows almost everybody. And उस टाइम पे जितने भी IAS ऑफिसर्स होते थे यूपी सेक्रेटेरिएट में, माय फादर यूज्ड टू टॉक अबाउट देम. एंड हमारे घर में हाउस होल्ड टॉक्स होती थी IAS ऑफिसर्स को लेकर कि यार आज उनके साथ बात हुई, आज उनके साथ ये बात हुई, कल उनसे मिलना है, एंड द पर्सन इज टेकिंग सो एंड सो डिसीजन, या उस डिसीजन में उन्होंने मेरे से ये राय मांगी, या what kind of roles these people are playing in policy making, and किस तरह से ये लोग पॉलिसीज फॉर्म कर रहे हैं या जो भी डिसीजंस ले रहे हैं, हाउ द मीटिंग्स आर टेकिंग प्लेस, लाल बत्ती की गाड़ियां कैसे आती हैं वहां पे, एंड हर जगह लाल बत्ती. व्हेनेवर आई यूज्ड टू गो टू हिज ऑफिस, मुझे हर जगह लाल बत्ती की गाड़ियां ही दिखती थी. मुझे क्रेज हो गया. मतलब मुझे एक चीज मेरे जहन में बैठ गई. ये मैं आपको अराउंड 11th स्टैंडर्ड की बात बता रहा हूँ. मेरे जहन में बैठ गई कि लाल बत्ती चलिए ठीक है, वो तो एक जो बाहर की शो है वो अलग चीज है, लाल बत्ती इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग, बट द पीपल हु आर बेसिकली टेकिंग डिसीजंस, द डिसीजन मेकर्स. मतलब आई ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू आस्क माय फादर कि अब जैसे रोड ठीक होनी है, रोड का डिसीजन कौन लेने वाला है यार? अब जैसे लाइट नहीं आ रही है, लाइट का डिसीजन कौन लेने वाला है? या कोई पॉलिसी में चेंज लाना है तो उसका डिसीजन कौन ले रहा है? ये डिसीजन लेता कौन है बेसिकली? So then, slowly and steadily, when the discussions took place, I came to know that there is something called as bureaucracy. And the bureaucrats are the people who actually take decisions, and they are responsible for making the things happen. And तब मुझे समझ आया कि district magistrate कुछ होता है, and there's something called as commissioner, income tax, and कुछ railways में भी officers हमारे होते हैं. मतलब मुझे कुछ भी आइडिया नहीं था. 11th में तो आप जानते हो, मतलब people really don't have any idea. But slowly and steadily, when I came to know about all of these things, it really started fascinating me. And वो मेरे जहन में इतना strongly बैठ गया कि वो 10+2 के बाद, मतलब the moment I finished my board exams, and मेरा रिजल्ट जैसे ही आया तो मेरे माइंड में बस यही था कि मुझे अभी तुरंत दे देना है. लेकिन वहाँ पे मतलब डिफिकल्ट पॉइंट क्या मैंने फेस किया कि मुझे पता लगा यार वो तो ग्रेजुएशन के बाद ही दे सकते हैं यूपीएससी. तो यूपीएससी 10+2 के बाद तो दे ही नहीं सकते हैं. तो ठीक है, मतलब दैट वाज इट बेसिकली. मतलब दैट वाज द पॉइंट बेसिकली व्हेन आई डिसाइडेड दैट आई हैव टू डू दिस थिंग ओनली इन माय लाइफ.
So apart from going into UPSC after 11th or 12th, whenever you decided, what was your dream profession as a child in earlier stages?
Your dream profession, see, as a child, what maximum can you think? See, it all depends on the kind of exposure that you get in your childhood. See, आपकी ड्रीम्स भी उसी के बेसिस पे बनते हैं, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द सराउंडिंग्स. अगर आपका एक्सपोजर ही कुछ नहीं है तो आप ड्रीम कितना बड़ा देख लोगे? मतलब आप क्या सोच सकते हो कि मैं लखनऊ के बाहर भी निकल सकता हूँ? मैं आपको बहुत ही रॉ चीज बता रहा हूँ. मतलब एक ग्राउंड लेवल पे अगर आपकी सराउंडिंग अच्छी नहीं है, अगर आपके पास एक्सपोजर नहीं है वो, तो यू कांट इवन थिंक ऑफ मूविंग आउट ऑफ योर सिटी. You forget about leaving your country and studying abroad and thinking about touching different pinnacles of life. So वो चीज तो आप सोच भी नहीं सकते हो. लेकिन एज अ चाइल्डहुड मेरा ड्रीम हमेशा ये रहा है, ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग, मैं एक बहुत बड़ा एथलीट बनना चाहता था. मतलब मैं रनिंग मेरे को इतनी ज्यादा पसंद थी, एंड शॉर्ट डिस्टेंस रनिंग ओनली 100 मीटर्स. मतलब आप बिलीव नहीं करोगे, मैं 150 मीटर्स भी नहीं भाग पाता हूँ बिकॉज मैं थक जाता था. मतलब लेकिन मेरे अंदर स्टैमिना 100 मीटर्स का इतना जबरदस्त डेवलप हो गया था उस टाइम पे, और मैंने प्रैक्टिस भी बहुत करी. व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू गो फॉर इंटर स्कूल कॉम्पिटिशंस, एंड जब स्टेट लेवल पे मेरे पास गोल्ड आया और मेरे पास जोनल लेवल पे गोल्ड आया मेरे पास, तो मेरे अंदर कॉन्फिडेंस इतना ज्यादा आ गया कि यार मतलब आई कैन डू लॉट मेनी थिंग्स फॉर माय कंट्री। एंड मैं अपना ग्रेजुएशन करने के बाद मैं या तो कुछ अपना कोई कोच अपॉइंट कराऊंगा। एंड न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट के बारे में तो मुझे कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन ही नहीं थी कि कोई दे समबडी कॉल्ड एज न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट और हु एग्जिस्ट एंड असिस्ट द एथलीट्स इन द वर्ल्ड। बट यस, ड्रीम मेरे को ये आने लग गया था उस टाइम पे, बहुत कॉन्क्रीट वे में फॉर्म हो रहा था कि यार आई वांट टू डू समथिंग इन एथलेटिक्स एंड आई वांट टू प्ले फॉर माय कंट्री। एंड उस टाइम पे पीटी उषा के बारे में मैंने सुना था एंड बहुत ज्यादा नाम तो मैं नहीं जानता था उस टाइम पे, इतना एक्सपोजर ही नहीं था। एंड ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग उस टाइम पे आई डिड नॉट हैव माय स्पाइक्स विद मी, स्पाइक्स की ज्यादा नॉलेज भी नहीं थी एंड टाइम पे थोड़ा फाइनेंशियली आल्सो वी वर नॉट दैट ग्रेट। तो आप बिलीव नहीं करोगे, आई कैन गिव यू वन एग्जांपल। कानपुर में देयर वाज वन एथलेटिक्स मीट एंड स्टेट लेवल कंपटीशन था। एंड उस टाइम पे वी हैड दिस कंपटीशन, इट वाज अ स्टेट लेवल, यस। एंड वहां पे हमारे पास कुछ एथलीट्स आए थे दिल्ली पब्लिक स्कूल के। दिल्ली पब्लिक स्कूल के एथलीट्स को देखकर मैं ना थोड़ा सा डर सा गया। एंड व्हाई? I'll tell you. Although I don't belong from a rural background, I have a complete urban background. But again, मैं आपको exposure की बात बता रहा हूँ और ये बहुत ज्यादा असिस्ट करती है। जो भी बच्चे मे बी इस इंटरव्यू को सुनेंगे तो वो शायद कुछ रिलेट कर पाएंगे एंड मे बी there would be some kind of a learning for them कि although मैं लखनऊ को बिलोंग करता था लेकिन फिर भी लखनऊ और दिल्ली में डिफरेंस है। जब दिल्ली के बच्चों को मैंने देखा एंड द वे दे प्रिपेयर फॉर देयर competitions and the way they prepare for the athletic meets, the kind of warm-ups that they do, the kind of dresses and the attire that they wear, and the kind of preparation that they have for their competitions, it was amazing. It was amazing. And can you believe it? I ran in that 100 meters without spikes. मैं barefoot भागा था. And these guys were running with spikes and still I won the gold medal. I still won the gold. So मुझे उस टाइम पे ऐसा लगा कि if without any adequate preparation, without any adequate coaching and guidance, I can win gold at the state level, defeating all these whom I believe are very competent people. तो अगर मुझे proper coaching मिलेगी तो then आप सोचो मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ फिर। अगर मुझे प्रॉपर कोई गाइड करने वाला मिल जाए इस टाइम पे तो आप सोचो मैं कर क्या सकता हूँ इस लाइफ में। आई कैन अचीव बिगर माइलस्टोन्स इन लाइफ। सो दिस इज नथिंग। So this was a major incident that happened in my life and I believe that उसने मुझे शेक कर दिया एक्चुअली उस टाइम पे। तो मेरा चाइल्डहुड ड्रीम यही था, बस मेरे को कंट्री को रिप्रेजेंट करना था, वो मुझे गोल्ड मेडल्स जीतने थे इंडिया के लिए। देन आई स्टार्टेड फॉलोइंग स्पोर्ट अ लॉट एंड उस टाइम पे मैंने बहुत देखे स्पोर्ट्स, मैंने कॉम्पिटिशन्स को बहुत फॉलो किया। एंड उसके बाद तो अभी उसेन बोल्ट तो अभी इट्स अ रीसेंट फिनोमेना। उसेन बोल्ट उस टाइम पे तो नहीं था लेकिन वी हैड मेनी अदर एथलीट्स जिनको मैं फॉलो भी करता था उस टाइम पे। एंड तो मैं उन लोगों को देखता था, यार इन लोगों की तो यार बॉडी बड़ी गजब है यार, मतलब दे हैव वेरी अमेजिंग फिजिक दे हैव। एंड कितनी एक्सरसाइज ये लोग करते होंगे, कितनी ट्रेनिंग रिक्वायर्ड होती है। तो उस टाइम पे फिर मैंने दैट वाज द टाइम दैट आई थिंक आई वाज इन या 8th और 9th स्टैंडर्ड जब मैंने जिमिंग शुरू करी। तो मेरा जिम का भी जो मेरा माइंड सेट है वो उसी टाइम पे डेवलप हुआ। मतलब पीपल में फील कि यार जिमिंग शायद बहुत लेट करते हैं यार, बाद में शुरू करनी चाहिए। आई थिंक बाद में ही शुरू करनी चाहिए बट अगेन मैंने कुछ चीजें लाइफ में बहुत जल्दी शुरू कर दी हैं एंड वो जिमिंग वाज वन ऑफ दैट। सो दैट वाज इट अबाउट माय गोल।
So who was your inspiration?
यार आई वुड से माय इंस्पिरेशन वाज माय स्पोर्ट्स टीचर। और बहुत बड़ा इंस्पिरेशन मैं कोई नहीं बताता लेकिन मेरे जो टीचर थे, मतलब आई वाज वेरी फॉर्चुनेट टू हैव दोस काइंड ऑफ टीचर्स during my childhood. And because I personally know that there are many schools, wherein the children are not getting that kind of an opportunity to participate at the state level, zonal level, national level. His name was Mr. Kishore Shah. And Kishore sir was an amazing person, and a person who had, lots of interest in developing the capabilities of the people who are getting trained under him. And I really liked this thing about him. And he never gave up on me. मतलब मैंने कई बारी फॉल्टर किया है। इट इज नॉट दैट कि मतलब मैं हर जगह अच्छा ही निकला हूँ, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है। कई जगह फॉल्टर किया है एंड ट्रेनिंग में हमेशा लेट हो जाता था। दिस इज समथिंग सी इट इज नॉट इजी। आई एम अगेन टेलिंग यू एट द स्कूल लेवल पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन द कॉम्पिटिशंस इज नॉट इजी। व्हाई आई एम टेलिंग यू? क्यों? क्योंकि होता क्या है कि देखो आपको पढ़ाई तो पूरी करनी है, जितना बाकी बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं पढ़ना तो देखो आपको उतना पूरा ही है। एंड कोई भी टीचर, कोई भी प्रिंसिपल, दे आर नॉट गोना गिव यू एनी काइंड ऑफ अ कॉम्पनसेशन और समथिंग, या कुछ एक्स्ट्रा क्रेडिट आपको नहीं मिल जाने वाले हैं. अल्टीमेटली एट द एंड ऑफ द डे यू हैव टू गेट योर परसेंटेजेस इन द बोर्ड एग्जाम एंड यू हैव टू प्रूव योर मेटल कि हाँ भाई देखो मैंने पढ़ा है एंड आई हैव गॉट सो मच ऑफ परसेंटेज, एंड देन अकॉर्डिंगली आई विल मूव ऑन अहेड इन माय करियर. बट अब स्कूल टाइम पे आपको अगर तैयारी करनी है कॉम्पिटिशन्स की, तो उस टाइम पे क्या होता है कि यू हैव टू प्रैक्टिस आफ्टर द क्लासेस. आफ्टर द क्लासेस यू हैव टू डिवोट एटलीस्ट 2.5 hours फॉर ट्रेनिंग. एंड उस टाइम पे, ट्रेनिंग के टाइम पे क्या होता है, एट टाइम्स यू फील लेजी, एट टाइम्स यू फील नो यार अभी आई हैड अ वेरी लॉन्ग डे एंड आई हैड अ केमिस्ट्री क्लास जस्ट एज द लास्ट क्लास. आई एम फीलिंग रियली बोर्ड, आई एम फीलिंग वेरी heavy in my mind and I don't feel like training. But again, when you have a competition lined up and next month if you have a competition ahead, you have to be mentally prepared for that and you have to go for training sessions on a regular basis. You just cannot be saying that okay नहीं हो पाएगा. तो कई sessions में मैं भी नहीं जा पाया. Definitely, I found myself very lazy and तो I thought कि यार चलो मैं रिटायर कर जाता हूँ and कल प्रैक्टिस कर लेंगे. तो उस टाइम पे किशोर सर का जो मेन रोल था, तो that played a very important role that time. एंड आई रियली फेल्ट कि यार मतलब उन्होंने मेरे को बहुत उठाया है एंड मेरी परफॉर्मेंसेस को बहुत इम्प्रूव किया है. एंड माई लॉन्ग जंप परफॉर्मेंस रियली इम्प्रूव बिकॉज ऑफ हिम. आई वॉज वेरी गुड एट शॉर्ट पुट. सो दीज वर द मेन 3 events, not long jump, sorry, triple jump. So 100 meters, triple jump and shot put. So these were my 3 main events wherein I had participated. Kishore sir was great. I really love him.
What all challenges did you face while appearing for UPSC examination?
See, very first thing I would say, UPSC is an exam which has many uncertainties. Every child who is preparing for civil services examination will have a different strategy to play with. Right? My strategy was also different, and it was like once I cleared my 10+2, I found myself as the topper of the school with very good percentage in science side. So immediately, the thing that will come to your mind is that चलो मेरे को IIT की तैयारी करनी है, मुझे engineering करनी है. तो मेरे माइंड में भी वही आया, जस्ट लाइक अ नॉर्मल ह्यूमन बीइंग, नॉर्मल इंडियन, नॉट ह्यूमन बीइंग, नॉर्मल इंडियन. मेरे माइंड में भी यही आया कि ओके 10+2 मैंने टॉप किया साइंस से, नाउ माय नेक्स्ट एम इज इंजीनियरिंग. तो मैंने IIT की तैयारी शुरू कर दी. आई हैड जॉइंड अ कोचिंग इन लखनऊ एंड इट वाज ऑलरेडी आई थिंक 3 months इनटू कोचिंग. आई वाज डूइंग रियली वेल इन फिजिक्स एंड केमिस्ट्री एंड बहुत अच्छी तैयारी चल रही थी मेरी. बट अगेन उस टाइम पे जो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या है, बेसिकली द ऑब्स्टिकल दैट आई फेस्ड दैट टाइम वाज आई वाज मिसगाइडेड बाय वन पर्सन इन लखनऊ एंड ही वाज अ डायरेक्टर ऑफ वन ऑफ द कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स इन लखनऊ. सो आई हैपन टू मीट हिम एंड उस टाइम पे क्या था कि वो जज्बा इतना ज्यादा था तैयारी करने का कि यार मेरे को बस तैयारी करनी, कुछ भी हो जाए. उस टाइम पे तो ये था कि कोई भी मुझे कुछ भी बोल देता था, मैं कर देता था. अगर सिविल सर्विसेज के लिए ये है, हाँ ये कर, ओके ठीक है, आई विल डू दिस. अगर तुम्हें अच्छा ये सब्जेक्ट पढ़ना, ये करना, ओके आई विल डू इट. सी मेरे साथ प्रॉब्लम उस टाइम पे क्या थी कि मैंने कुछ अपना मेंटल बेस नहीं बनाया था, मैंने कुछ अपना रिसर्च वर्क ही नहीं किया था. आई वॉज डिपेंडिंग ऑन अदर पीपल. जो बंदा मुझे कुछ बोल देता था मैं वो कर देता था. तो उस टाइम पे हुआ क्या, अब चूंकि माइंड में जज्बा इसी चीज का करने का था, तो आई वेंट टू दिस इंस्टीट्यूट. सो आई थॉट लेट मी जस्ट टेक सम गाइडेंस फ्रॉम दैट पर्सन. So this person basically told me कि okay, तुमने साइंस तो पढ़ी है, that is okay, but I will tell you something. History is a very good subject. You should take history. And मैं तुम्हें 3 साल हिस्ट्री पढ़ाऊंगा. 3 साल हिस्ट्री पढ़ा के जैसे तुम्हारे 3 साल ग्रेजुएशन के खत्म होंगे, ग्रेजुएशन तुम्हारी साथ चलती रहेगी. And for these 3 years, along with the graduation, you will attend my classes. And the moment you will finish your graduation, next year you will appear and you will secure the top rank. उन्होंने मेरे को इतना बड़ा ड्रीम दिखा दिया एंड आई गॉट कंप्लीटली स्वेड. एंड मुझे कोई और गाइड करने वाला लिटरली कोई नहीं था. मतलब आई रियली हैड नो वन whom I could talk to and I could take guidance from. So I left my engineering coaching, I left my engineering preparation, सब कुछ मैंने छोड़ दिया. And on the contrary, I went to Lucknow University and मैंने BA का फॉर्म डाला वहाँ पे. And I personally believe that BA do not hold any value in today's times because BA करके आप कौन सी नौकरी कर सकते हो, आपको कुछ नहीं मिलता है वहां पर, nothing you will gain. But at the same time, see, I'm not against the subjects of history, political science, nothing. No, I'm not against them. But again, I realized that it was not my cup of tea. मुझे हिस्ट्री नहीं समझ आती. Likewise, there would be some people जिनको फिजिक्स समझ ही नहीं आएगी, मतलब वो रजिस्टर ही नहीं होती है माइंड में. And that's understandable. People will have different interest. So likewise, coming from the science background, मुझे हिस्ट्री में बिल्कुल इंटरेस्ट नहीं था. पर ठीक है, मैंने हिस्ट्री पढ़ी फिर भी. बट मेरा जो पर्पस था वो सॉल्व नहीं हुआ. मतलब जब मैंने द मोमेंट आई फिनिश्ड माय ग्रेजुएशन, बाय दैट टाइम आई रियलाइज दैट हिस्ट्री इज नॉट माय कप ऑफ टी. And then I planned to switch over to sociology. And because sociology को लेकर I had a lot of discussion with few of my friends, and उस time पे मैंने subjects की पूरा detailing देखा, उसका पूरा syllabus and all पूरा देखा मैंने. And then I realized कि यार this is something which I can relate to, and इसको मैं पढ़ के I can grasp it a little better as compared to the other subjects. तो उस टाइम पे then I pursued MS Sociology, and MS Sociology में I made the best friends of my life, and बहुत अच्छे friends बने. प्रशांत is my friend, and प्रशांत की एक अलग स्टोरी है, वो मैं आपको I'll discuss a little later. ऐसा कोइंसिडेंस शायद ही किसी की लाइफ में होता है. People from the same course like MS Sociology हम दोनों ने एक साथ पढ़ा, and after few years we both get selected into IRS in the same batch. This is very rare. This is very rare, which has happened with us, and I'm very happy about it. So sociology पढ़ा मैंने उस टाइम पे. sociology करने के बाद now you will be thinking कि मैंने MBA क्यों किया. MBA मैंने basically किया sociology करने के बाद. I was very clear कि I have to do my civil services preparation. लेकिन MBA मैंने किया, I don't know, मतलब decision I believe was correct at that point of time, but later on I think कि यार I am not very sure कि वो डिसीजन करेक्ट था या रॉन्ग था. लेकिन मैंने इसलिए किया था, my reason was to have a backup in my life. Because after MA, I was not very certain. Civil services की तैयारी तो मुझे करनी है, but again, I was not very certain whether I'll get selected or not. And मैं अपना 100% civils में देना चाहता था, but at the same time, I always wanted a backup. Because see, my father did not have any business to give to me. या कोई ऐसा वो नहीं था कि यार हमारी लीनिएज में कुछ आ रहा हो, या मुझे कुछ इनहेरिटेंस में कोई लाइन ऑफ बिजनेस कुछ मिल रहा हो, which I could have taken up had I failed in the other ventures. So that is why I did my MBA, and MBA करने के बाद I had a very good time in MBA Amity में, and वहाँ पे I got the campus placement with India Bulls. India Bulls में I did job for 1 year in Lucknow, and उस टाइम पे I used to sell demat accounts, and मैंने demat accounts काफी बेचे हैं, and that was a direct sales job. सुबह 9:20 पे मार्केट खुलता था, स्टॉक मार्केट, एंड 9:20 से लेकर 3:30 बजे की एंडिंग होती है. तो 9:20 से 3:30 मैं क्लाइंट्स को ट्रेडिंग कराता था, एंड विद नो नॉलेज ऑफ ट्रेडिंग व्हाटसोएवर, बट स्टिल मैं ट्रेडिंग कराता था. एंड उसके बाद 3:30 बजे मैं अपना लैपटॉप लेकर with the India Bull software, I used to roam around all the markets of Lucknow. I've gone door to door. I've sold demat accounts from door to door. इतने rejections face किए वहाँ पे, इतने rejections face किए. People literally used to bang door on my face. Because आप भी सोचो ना, आज की डेट में कोई भी सेल्समैन आपके पास आएगा, अगर आप अच्छे मूड में नहीं हो, या आप ऑलरेडी सेल्समैन को लेकर वैसे ही मतलब people don't hold very high regard. तो उस टाइम पे बोलते हैं, अरे यार तुम क्यों डिस्टर्ब कर रहे हो, just get lost from this place, just get out of this place. That was the time when people used to shun me, and I faced a lot of difficult time. But for 1 year I did this because I had no other choice, and 15,000 was my salary. मुझे per month 15,000 मिलता था, and I was very happy. When the first salary came, I got so happy. And मैंने 15 के 15,000 I just gave it to my mother कि मम्मा आप ये रखो यार, मेरी फर्स्ट सैलरी आ गई आज. लेकिन उसके बाद 1 साल जब मेरा हो गया, 1 साल बाद देखिए, ये 1 साल में ऐसा नहीं है कि सिविल सर्विसेज मेरे माइंड से चला गया था. सिविल सर्विसेज वाज वेरी मच देयर. आई वाज जस्ट प्लानिंग कि क्या राइट टाइम है, व्हाट इज द राइट टाइम व्हेन आई कैन स्ट्राइक. तो 1 साल बाद मुझे रियलाइज हो गया कि अभी मुझे जो यहाँ से चाहिए था मुझे मिल गया है. जॉब का एक्सपीरियंस हो गया, एवरीथिंग हैज हैपेंड. नाउ आई थिंक दिस इज द टाइम व्हेन आई शुड गो दिस प्लंज. दिस इज अ प्लंज. सिविल सर्विसेज इज अ प्लंज. And then that moment I took the plunge. I resigned from my service and from a job, and then I went to Delhi, old Rajendra Nagar में एक छोटा सा कमरा लिया, and I joined Wajiram and Ravi, is top-notch institute of civil services in old Rajendra Nagar for the English medium students. वो join किया मैंने, and बस the journey started यार, and वहीं पे तैयारी करी, वहीं पे बहुत struggles face किए हैं, and डिसोनेंस इतनी फेस करी है कि मैं आपको बता नहीं सकता हूँ. बिकॉज ऑल माई स्कूल फ्रेंड्स, ऑल माई कलीग्स, जो मेरे साथ के बंदे थे, मतलब आई यूज्ड टू सी देम. कोई बेल्जियम, एक बंदा बेल्जियम में गया, वन टू सैन होजे, वन वाज इन वैंकूवर, अनदर वेंट टू सिंगापुर. तो उस टाइम पे जो डिसोनेंस आपको फील होता है ना, वो किसी चीज के साथ आप कंपेयर ही नहीं कर सकते हो। लेकिन लेकिन आपको सरवाइव कौन कराता है उस मोमेंट पे? सरवाइव आपको कराता है आपकी मेंटल स्ट्रेंथ, आपका पर्पस, आपका गोल, मतलब आप किस चीज के लिए वहां पे हो। सो ये ऑब्स्टिकल सारे फेस करते हुए मैं पहुंच गया ओल्ड राजेंद्र नगर, एंड देयर द प्रिपरेशन स्टार्टेड।
So after preparation, after preparing for civil service examination, and after selection, what
Yeah.
was your first reaction when you have seen the result and your name was there? And how was your parents' reaction?
आप लोग रुला दोगे यार। I'll tell you something, an interesting thing about civil services. There are people who get selected in first attempt also. There are people who get selected in their third or fourth attempt also. Actually, UPSC में what happens is, like general category में I had got 4 attempts, and in 4 attempts में I have given all the 4 interviews. फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट सबसे ज्यादा जज्बे वाला होता है, मतलब सबसे ज्यादा जोश और सारी मेहनत लगा दी, सब कुछ कर दिया। सो माय यूपीएससी स्टोरी बेसिकली ये चारों अटेम्प्ट्स की बहुत ही डिफरेंट रही है। अगर आप मेरा ब्लॉग भी देखेंगे, मैंने एक्चुअली अपने ब्लॉग में चारों अटेम्प्ट्स के मार्क्स डाले हुए हैं। एंड जस्ट फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स, मतलब आई यूज्ड टू गाइड स्टूडेंट्स आफ्टर माय सिलेक्शन, काफी गाइड करता था मैं। तो चारों अटेम्प्ट्स के मार्क्स एंड उसमें इंटरव्यू के स्कोर्स भी मैंने डाले हुए हैं, तो वो एक अलग ही स्टोरी है मेरी इंटरव्यू की। तो पहले अटेम्प्ट मैंने दिया, पहले अटेम्प्ट में आई डिडंट गेट सिलेक्टेड। इंटरव्यू दिया, इंटरव्यू में आई गॉट 80 मार्क्स एंड आई वाज शैटर्ड। मेरे मेंस में इतने अच्छे मार्क्स थे, लेकिन इंटरव्यू में आई गॉट 80 मार्क्स एंड आई वाज आउट ऑफ द मेरिट। सेकेंड अटेम्प्ट अगेन आई गिव द इंटरव्यू एंड आई गॉट 114 मार्क्स एंड अगेन आई वाज आउट ऑफ द लिस्ट। उस टाइम पे मुझे समझ आ गया कि यार शायद जो मेरा ये सोचना था ना, ये अनसर्टेनिटी फैक्टर, आई थिंक इट इज प्लेइंग इट्स रोल नाउ, बिकॉज नाउ सिंस आई एम नॉट गेटिंग सेलेक्टेड, 2 अटेम्प्ट्स हो गए, दोनों इंटरव्यूज मैंने दे दिए, और दोनों इंटरव्यूज में इतनी मेहनत मैंने करी है ना, मैं आपको बता नहीं सकता हूँ। मतलब उन 2 सालों में कोई मूवी नहीं देखी, कोई एंटरटेनमेंट नहीं, कोई दिवाली नहीं, कोई न्यू ईयर नहीं, कोई फैमिली गेट टुगेदर नहीं, कोई फैमिली वेडिंग नहीं, कुछ नहीं अटेंड किया मैंने। केवल राजेंद्र नगर में बैठ के बस पढ़ाई करी है और कुछ नहीं किया। नो फ्रेंडशिप्स, कोई यारियां नहीं बनाई, कुछ नहीं किया। तो मैंने सोचा इतना सेक्रीफाइस करने के बाद भी इफ आई एम गेटिंग रिजेक्टेड, then there is something wrong in my strategy. It is not that कि I'm not doing the right thing. मैं देखो कुछ तो सही कर रहा हूं, इसलिए मैं इंटरव्यू तक पहुंच रहा हूं, कुछ तो मैं सही कर रहा हूं। लेकिन मेरे दोनों बार अगर इंटरव्यू में कम मार्क्स आ रहे हैं, दैट मीन्स कुछ या तो मेरी पर्सनैलिटी में प्रॉब्लम है, या मेरी स्पीकिंग में प्रॉब्लम है, और मे बी या तो मेरे एक्सप्रेशन में प्रॉब्लम है। आई एम नॉट एबल टू एक्सप्रेस द थिंग्स व्हिच आई हैड इन माय माइंड, या मे बी I'm not able to understand and comprehend the questions that are being asked to me in the interview. And कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम उस टाइम पे चल रही है। मैंने काफी इंट्रोस्पेक्शन किया, सब कुछ किया। अगेन थर्ड अटेम्प्ट दिया मैंने, एंड थर्ड अटेम्प्ट में अगेन आई गॉट गुड मार्क्स इन मेंस, एंड मेंस मेरा हैव बीन गोइंग ऑन रियली वेल थ्रू आउट। उस टाइम पे फिर इंटरव्यू जब आया, एंड इंटरव्यू में मतलब बहुत अच्छा गया मेरा इंटरव्यू, आई वाज सो सेटिस्फाइड। लेकिन अगेन मुझे मार्क्स तो पता नहीं थे, मतलब कितने मिलेंगे कितने नहीं मिलेंगे, लेकिन मेरे को इतना समझ आ गया था कि यार आई थिंक एज कम्पेयर टू द प्रीवियस 2 इंटरव्यूज, ये वाला इंटरव्यू मेरा बहुत अच्छा गया है। एंड आई गॉट 196 मार्क्स, एंड 196 मार्क्स जब आए, एंड उस टाइम पे दैट वाज द अटेम्प्ट व्हेन आई गॉट सिलेक्टेड। एंड अब आप वो जो एक्सप्रेशन आप पूछ रहे हो, तो एक्सप्रेशन का मैं आपको क्या बताऊं, मतलब उस टाइम पे दैट वाज द मोमेंट व्हेन I was sitting on my system, and my father, I was in Delhi because I was preparing for next prelims, and prelims की तैयारी तो करनी है आपको, because that अब मेरा अगला जो है last attempt बचा था, 4th attempt, और my father was sitting on the system in UP Secretariat, with his friends. I was sitting on the system here in old Rajendra Nagar, and we were just watching the results. न्यूज आ चुकी थी कि रिजल्ट आने वाला है, बस अब वो यूपीएससी बस अपलोड करने वाला है, आप साइट को रिफ्रेश करते रहो। We were just refreshing the site again and again. And suddenly the page appeared, and we just opened the site, and when I saw my name there, oh my goodness, मतलब मैं तो एक्सप्रेशनलेस था पहली चीज तो, एंड आई स्टार्टेड क्राइंग उस टाइम पे, मतलब मेरे तो आंसू निकलने लग गए थे। एंड मतलब एक चीज ये होती है ना कि आप इतने टाइम से कोई चीज तैयारी कर रहे हो, और 2 रिजेक्शन इंटरव्यू के लेवल पे आप फेस कर चुके हो, और थर्ड अटेम्प्ट आपने फिर से दिया है पूरी हिम्मत लगा के, बिकॉज दिस इज अ ईयर लॉन्ग प्रोसेस. इट इज नॉट दैट कि यार 3 महीने में चलो मैं कर देता हूँ या 6 महीने में मेरा हो जाएगा. क्योंकि इंटरव्यू से रिजेक्ट होने के बाद यू हैव टू अपीयर इन द प्रीलिम्स एग्जाम अगेन. प्रीलिम्स आप दोगे, फिर 4 महीने बाद मेंस होगा, फिर 5 महीने बाद इंटरव्यू की कॉल आएगी एंड इंटरव्यू आप दोगे. तो ये पूरा ईयर लॉन्ग प्रोसेस है. एंड ईयर लॉन्ग प्रोसेस का पूरा रिजल्ट जब आप देखते हो स्क्रीन पे, मतलब that actually shook me and I felt so proud of myself and so proud of my efforts and hard work. I said thank you to God. I said thank you to my parents for bearing with me, because itna patience rakhna, it was very difficult for them. And yes, there's one more thing which I would just like to mention here, because that was the time when I was preparing for my first interview. This time पे मैंने first interview दिया था. That was the time, when I had met my life partner. I met Pavi. Pavi is my wife right now. I married her later on. So I met Pavi that moment, and उस time पे she had been like a pillar for me, because मैंने first interview मेरा fail हुआ, second interview fail हुआ, but उस time पे you always want a friend who can repose that faith in you, repose that trust in you कि यार it is okay. You have been doing, you are walking on the right path, you have it in you. It is not that कि यार मतलब तुम किसी काम के नहीं हो. No, it's not like that. There should be somebody who should just push you कि हाँ यार मतलब what you're doing, you're on the right path and you just give your best. You just give your best and पूरा faith और पूरा trust रख के वो आपको push करता है. So Pavi was the person जिसने मुझे मतलब पूरा उस टाइम पे मोटिवेट किया, संभाला. अदरवाइज मैं सेकंड अटेम्प्ट के बाद टूट चुका था बहुत, मतलब आई वाज शैटर्ड, कंप्लीटली शैटर्ड. एंड फिर उस टाइम पे थर्ड अटेम्प्ट का जब रिजल्ट आया, एंड देन डेफिनेटली यार मतलब वी हैड वेरी हैप्पी मोमेंट्स. एंड माय पेरेंट्स, यू वोंट बिलीव, उन्होंने पूरे ऑफिस में लड्डू बंटवाए. एंड दिस आई केम टू नो लेटर ऑन. उन्होंने लड्डू बंटवाए एंड ही वाज सो वेरी हैप्पी दैट माय सन हैज गॉट सेलेक्टेड. एंड yeah, that was a very happy moment and I really felt good about it.
तो ऑफिसर बनने की जर्नी कहाँ से चालू हुई फिर आपकी, और क्या क्या लाइफ में चेंजेस देखे आपने ऑफिसर बनने के बाद?
गौरव, ऑफिसर बनने की फीलिंग जो है, एक तो देखो व्हेन यू गो टू द एकेडमी, लेकिन उस टाइम पे आपके नाम के साथ प्रोबेशनर लगा होता है. तो यू आर असिस्टेंट कमिश्नर, लाइक आई गॉट इनकम टैक्स, तो असिस्टेंट कमिश्नर इनकम टैक्स एंड यू आर अ प्रोबेशनर बेसिकली. तो उस टाइम पे एकेडमी में तो देखो कभी ऐसा लगता नहीं था कि यार वी आर ऑफिसर्स और समथिंग, क्योंकि हम लोग स्टूडेंट्स ही थे बेसिकली वहां पे. एंड हम लोग की ट्रेनिंग जो थी, इट वाज लिटिल ऑन अ हार्डर साइड. एंड लेकिन लॉट ऑफ लर्निंग वाज देयर, सब कुछ अच्छा रहा, वेरी नाइस. एंड इट वाज अ 16 months लॉन्ग ट्रेनिंग दैट वी गेट एज आईटी ऑफिशियल्स. एंड नागपुर में नेशनल अकेडमी ऑफ डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस में वी गेट आवर ट्रेनिंग for 16 months. And in 16 months में you have a lot of attachments, and you get to meet a lot many senior government officers, and you get to know all the other different government agencies, how they work. We have army attachments as well. Then we had attachments in US and Australia as well. So जो international attachments भी हमारे हुए, and उसमें भी मतलब you get to know कि आप जैसे अब US में like IRS, US का जो internal revenue service है, how they work, and what is their working, what are their best practices. So you get to know and learn lot many things. Likewise in Sydney law school के साथ हम लोग का attachment था, and we got to know lot many things there. तो उसके बाद जब हमारा when this probation period got over 16 months का, उसके बाद when I got my first posting, I got posted to Mumbai. मुंबई जब पहुंचा हूं मैं, तो वहां पे थोड़ा सा एक ऑफिसर वाली फीलिंग आई when you start taking small decisions in your day to day life. And when those decisions basically are the final things, जब आपके seniors आपको बोलते हैं कि हाँ भाई you are responsible for this thing and you have to manage this in a particular way, and then you start taking decisions. तो वहाँ पे एक officer वाली feeling आती है कि यार definitely now I think I have a little bit of decision making power. तो यहाँ पे अब मैं decision ले सकता हूँ, अपने हिसाब से काम कर सकता हूँ. And बस slowly and steadily बस मुंबई में then different charges hold किए, and वहाँ पे very good exposure I got, corporate, non-corporate, central charges. आपका I was in TDS as well. So good experience overall. So Mumbai में it was very, very good overall. Yeah.
So what was your first task as an officer, and how was your first day as an officer?
My first day, I can't tell you. मेरे first day पे मुझे एक penalty order pass करना था, and the order was getting time barred on that particular day. वो मुझे बिल्कुल नहीं पता था मुझे कैसे पास करना है, क्योंकि वो जब तक मैं करूंगा नहीं, आई नेवर गेट टू नो. तो उस टाइम पे व्हेन आई हैड दिस पेनल्टी ऑर्डर इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी, I just went to the fact of the case and then I saw कि why this penalty is getting levied. First of all, तो I tried to apply that mind कि why this penalty is getting levied. Then at the same time, I tried to refer to the sections in the Income Tax Act and वहाँ पे sections वगैरह देखे, and then I got to know कि okay, this is the reason for this purpose, this penalty is getting levied and this is the percentage of tax that the person will have to pay. And then I just went through the draft of the order. Although the order was already prepared by my staff and it was just put up before me. So I went through the draft order and then I saw, okay, this is the thing. And that moment, that was my first signature as the officer, field officer. So on that penalty order, I would have been happy अगर मैं assessment order pass करता पहले दिन. लेकिन चलिए, I started my career with a penalty. That's okay. So that was the day, basically. Yeah.
So what were your initial days challenges post becoming an officer?
Referring to the Income Tax Act again and again. See, Income Tax Act is a statute. We are not specialist. मतलब आपका ऐसा नहीं है कि you are a specialist and you have an expertise over the Income Tax Act. Income Tax Act basically is a bible for all the income tax officials of the country. And उसमें sections को आप refer करते हो, sections को refer करके then there are explanations, there are provisos also to all the sections. So उन चीजों को interpret करके understanding the sections in the manner in which it is intended to be, the way it has been written, with what intention they have been written, and understanding those sections with those intentions has been my biggest challenge. Because at times, I feel that I used to feel that a particular section means something else. So when I used to discuss with my seniors used to say, no, Manpreet, this is not the way. This section means something else. So then we used to refer to the commentary, refer to the section, then used to refer to our senior bosses, and then somewhat a consensus लाकर then we used to decide हाँ ठीक है, this is right and this is the right way of approaching particular section. Because in income tax what happens is that for one particular section you will have umpteen number of case laws. So that there are so many appellate authorities which have come up with their decisions, and high court ke decisions and there are Supreme Court decisions. So you just need to be aware about these new happenings. एक particular decision में अगर कोई नई चीज घटी है तो then you should be aware about that, and what basically had been the intention of the High Court or the Supreme Court and with which they have come out with their rulings. तो वो चीजें बस आपको पता होनी चाहिए. तो इन चीजों में अडेप्ट करने में थोड़ा सा आई फेल्ट लिटिल डिफिकल्ट इन बिगिनिंग, बट नाउ आई एम एब्सोल्युटली कंफर्टेबल. वो धीरे धीरे ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम यू फील एब्सोल्युटली कंफर्टेबल, स्पेशली when I got posted in transfer pricing. Transfer pricing is one of the most technical field of the department here in India, and I loved transfer pricing over a period of time. When I did transfer pricing assessments and हमने एक सर्वे भी किया transfer pricing में पुणे में. So over a period of time I felt very comfortable with the act and the rulings.
So what were your roles and responsibility as Commissioner Income Tax?
Gaurav, I joined as Assistant Commissioner, and my entire tenure of Assistant Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner was spent in Mumbai. And I spent my initial years of Joint Commissioner as well in Mumbai because of COVID. I had taken retention in Mumbai for 1 year. And उस time पे my roles and responsibilities, see, it keeps on varying. Although the role of Assistant Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner doesn't vary much. आपके almost roles and responsibilities similar होते हैं because you are the field officer. Field officer as in you are directly responsible for assessments. अब assessments में, it all varies from the charges that you hold. Like initially I got non-corporate charge. Non-corporate charge में क्या होता है? Basically you have individual assessments, individual cases होते हैं या partnership firms होती हैं आपके पास. तो you do assessment of those firms. अब when you see and look at the books of accounts of the individuals or the partnership firms as compared to the books of accounts when you see that of companies, see, there's a hell lot of a difference. When the private limited companies की books आपको एकदम अलग दिखेंगी, individuals की books आपको एकदम अलग दिखेंगी. So आपकी approach differ कर जाती है. तो यहाँ पे आपको किस तरह के actions लेने हैं, वहाँ पे आपको किस तरह के actions लेने हैं. Then again, when you are sitting in a city like Mumbai, and in Mumbai, in the books of accounts, you have to be very particular about the zeros. The number of zeros, the figures are very huge. And when I used to talk to my friends in other cities like Lucknow में जो posted थे उस time पे, other cities, maybe not non-metros basically I would say. So non-metros wale, they never used to face this kind of a problem. बट डेफिनेटली यहाँ पे पता लगा मेरे को कि अच्छा मुंबई में थोड़ा सा ये जीरोस को लेकर यू हैव टू बी वेरी पर्टिकुलर. देन धीरे 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 यू गेट अडेप्टेड टू दैट थिंग, एंड उसके बाद फिर रोल्स आपके, आप जैसे टीडीएस में, लाइक आई गॉट पोस्टेड टू टीडीएस में, माय रोल कंप्लीटली गॉट डिफरेंट बिकॉज वहां पे इशुएंस ऑफ सर्टिफिकेट्स आर मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. तो जो टीडीएस के सर्टिफिकेट्स आप एसएससीज को इशू करते हैं तो उसमें यू हैव टू बी वेरी पर्टिकुलर, वेदर दे आर कंप्लाइंग विद द कंडीशंस एंड ऑल द कंडीशंस स्पेसिफाइड इन पर्टिकुलर सेक्शंस आर कंप्लाइड टू और नॉट. तो वो चीजें ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाती हैं. लाइकवाइज व्हेन आई वाज इन इंटेलिजेंस एंड क्रिमिनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन, सो उस टाइम पे आईएनसीआई में क्या हुआ, उस टाइम पे व्हेन आई गॉट पोस्टेड इन आईएनसीआई, तो दैट मोमेंट इटसेल्फ वी हैड दिस demonetization. And demonetization के time पे the work of the department exponentially increased basically, and why the work increased? Because people had done a lot of, cash deposits in the accounts, and, lot many activities had taken place that moment. तो उस टाइम पे मुझे ऐसा लगा कि मेरा रोल एकदम डिफरेंट है यहाँ पे, बिकॉज वी वर इन द फील्ड मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स, एंड वी वर इन द फील्ड एंड डूइंग इंस्टेंट वेरिफिकेशंस. वी वर गोइंग टू द बैंक्स, एंड आई पर्सनली डिड लॉट ऑफ बैंक वेरिफिकेशंस, एंड हमारी टीम्स कई गई हैं बैंक्स में, एंड कवरिंग ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द बैंक्स इन द नरीमन पॉइंट एरिया इन मुंबई. एंड लाइकवाइज आप जब अगर जैसे आई वाज फॉर अराउंड 6 to 7 months आई वाज हेडक्वार्टर टू सीसी सेंट्रल इन मुंबई. तो हेडक्वार्टर में जब आप आते हो तो हेडक्वार्टर में देखिए आपका रोल अलग हो जाता है. हेडक्वार्टर में लाइक योर रोल इज मोर ऑफ अ कोऑर्डिनेशन, लाइक यू आर अ फेस ऑफ चीफ कमिश्नर and staff of chief commissioner, and as a staff of chief commissioner you basically have to coordinate with all the other commissioners, and like whenever they want to meet up, or if you want to set up some meeting or some conferences coming up, or whatever work belongs to chief commissioner, basically you have to coordinate all of that work and assist the chief commissioner in their day-to-day working. So likewise, depending on the charges that you hold, your roles and positions basically keeps changing. That's what.
So do share your training time experience and any funny moment from that training experience.
Training as in the IRS training?
Yes.
In the academy? Oh man. IRS training, I would say, see if a few of my friends would be watching this interview maybe in future, I think they'll relate a lot. And I personally have had a very difficult time honestly speaking, because हमारे ट्रेनिंग के टाइम पे बहुत मेमोज इशू होते थे, एंड वी हैड दिस कल्चर ऑफ मेमोज. एंड मेमोज बेसिकली इशू इसलिए होते थे बिकॉज इफ यू आर नॉट ऑन टाइम टू द क्लासेस, इफ यू आर नॉट अटेंडिंग एनी ऑफ द सेशंस, और इफ यू have misbehaved in any of the sessions or activities, and if you are not appropriately dressed, or if you have not attended the morning meeting. Now see, this morning activity basically had very different story altogether during our training session, because हमारी morning activity शुरू होती थी 5:45 पे, एंड 5:45 पे अर्ली मॉर्निंग नागपुर में. उस टाइम पे देखिए अर्ली मॉर्निंग उठने की मुझे बिल्कुल आदत नहीं थी, बिकॉज मैं व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू प्रिपेयर फॉर सिविल सर्विसेज, आई वाज अ नाइट पर्सन बेसिकली, एंड मैं तैयारी के टाइम पे भी मेरा शेड्यूल इस तरह से रहता था कि मैं सुबह 5 बजे तक पढ़ता था, and I used to sleep by 5:30 in the morning, and then I used to get up by 11:30 in the morning, और मैं 2 बजे की क्लास में अटेंड करता था अकॉर्डिंगली. सो मेरा उस टाइम पे शेड्यूल जो 4 साल रहा है, तो मैंने 4 साल में बेसिकली 5 साढ़े 5 बजे सोया हूँ मॉर्निंग में. तो नाइट में मुझे बड़ा पीसफुल रहता था कि आई यूज्ड टू स्टडी विद फुल कंसंट्रेशन एंड फोकस ड्यूरिंग दोस टाइम्स. बट एकेडमी में आने के बाद देन द शेड्यूल एग्जैक्टली टर्न्ड अपसाइड डाउन, and I was required to get up early morning by around 5:15, and 5:45 तक आपको वहाँ पे प्रेजेंट होना था. तो शुरू में what had happened, हमारी एक एक्टिविटी थी कराटे, तो मैंने कराटे में पार्टिसिपेट किया. तो हमारा कराटे था ऑप्शन, वी हैड दिस ऑप्शन ऑफ योगा, एंड वी हैड दिस ऑप्शन ऑफ फिजिकल एक्टिविटी, एंड देयर वाज वन मोर थिंग, one more activity I'm not able to recall, but karate was very interesting. I had very good time there, and but at the same time, karate is very intensive. आपको बहुत भगाते हैं, बहुत मेहनत कराते हैं, एंड उस टाइम पे मॉर्निंग में कभी कभी क्या हुआ है कि अब जैसे मैं अटेंड नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ या कुछ नहीं, मैं जा नहीं पा रहा हूँ, तो उस टाइम पे मेरे को मेमोज इशू हुए हैं. एंड मॉर्निंग में लाइक अ डे प्रायर, लाइक इफ यू हैड अ लॉन्ग नाइट एंड और अगले दिन आप अटेंड नहीं कर पाए हो, तो डेफिनेटली वो मेमोज इशू हुए हैं उस टाइम पे. एंड एक बार तो यू वोंट बिलीव, द मोस्ट फनीएस्ट पार्ट दैट आई हैड एक्सपीरियंस ड्यूरिंग माय ट्रेनिंग टाइम वाज, एक मेडिकल पैनल मेरे लिए सेटअप किया गया था only for me. And why? Because I had some medical problem in the morning, and just my stomach upset was there, and उस time पे मैं morning activity attend नहीं कर पाया. तो my course team basically felt कि मैं बहाना मार रहा हूँ, and they set up a medical panel of all the doctors of the batchmates, from my batchmates, whosoever batchmates were doctors. So he called a panel of all the doctors, and then they had to take a call whether Manpreet actually had a stomach problem or he's just bluffing. So, so this was a very funny moment for me, and funny moment for my batchmates as well. We all had a good time and had a good laugh about it. That was the time. And moreover, बाकी मेमोज तो definitely रहे हैं. I got married during my training time, so definitely उस time पे I got shifted to marriage quarters also, and marriage quarters भी थे, and we had a very good time. मतलब बहुत अच्छे events भी हमारे रहे हैं training के time पे. We have got very good memories. And training के time पे, the kind of association that you develop, the friendships that you develop with your fellow colleagues, तो वो बहुत अच्छा रहा है. And I can never forget the INTAX event that we had in our academy. INTAX is basically income tax athletic event, basically. So it was an event about athletics. Athletics में I won 6 gold medals that time. And I was so very happy, and बहुत अच्छा गया था, and had a very good experience there. Was lot many small things are there, but yes, overall very good training. Hard training, but good training. Yeah.
So which all state have you worked?
Gaurav, see, I was very fortunate that I got the posting of Mumbai, because Mumbai being a metro, in our department, basically you get a tenure of 8 years in the metro cities. So I got tenure of 8 years there, and after 8 years, that is 4 years assistant commissioner, 4 years deputy commissioner, and 1 year extension I had taken because of COVID. So when we got promoted as joint commissioner, so I was posted in the tribunal in Mumbai. So 1 year tribunal experience I had. So overall 9 years in Mumbai I had spent. And after that, last year, September 21, I had joined Amritsar. 9 years in Mumbai and then 1 year in Amritsar. So from September 21 to August 22, I was in Amritsar. And from August 22, then I shifted to Columbia. So August 22, from Amritsar, I have come to Columbia, basically. So it's just Mumbai and Amritsar I have worked. That's it.
So what all cultural difference did you feel in Amritsar and Maharashtra, or Punjab and Maharashtra?
Punjab and Maharashtra. See, Maharashtra I would not call it, because I think here we need to specifically talk about Mumbai, because Mumbai is a metropolitan. Mumbai metropolitan and Amritsar you can make out. Amritsar is a small city. Culturally speaking, I would say, in Mumbai you get a lot of anonymity, and a lot of professionalism. The chartered accountants who work in Mumbai are very professional. People who give you time, they actually come on that time. Wherein, the commitments that they make, they fulfill those commitments. And, in the day-to-day working in the office, I felt that people are very professional in their overall working, in their overall behavior. But in Amritsar, again, the culture is very different. People are very warm, very welcoming, and I could relate it more to Amritsar, because I'm myself Punjabi, and I'm a Sikh myself, and getting back to those roots, definitely, although I don't belong to Amritsar, but getting back to those roots, definitely I could relate it more. I never faced any difficulty in Amritsar. I loved it. I loved the culture overall. And in the office, they have a very nice culture of eating. Not exactly eating. I shouldn't say eating, that we keep on eating and hogging in the offices. No, that is not the case. But yes, people basically have this culture of getting more and more number of dishes in front of you, laying down number of dishes in front of you. 7 to 8 dishes, will be laid out on the table. And if you are getting welcomed by somebody somewhere, and then people are very, very aware about their physique in Punjab. This is what I've seen, because the gym that I joined there, people were very enthusiastic and, very much aware about overall physique and their fitness levels. So this is something that I noticed there. And moreover, in Amritsar, you don't have any anonymity. Everybody knows everyone, basically. So this culture is there, that if somebody is there, and people need not call the other person. So if they want to meet the other person, they will directly go and barge into the other person's office or house or whatever. Right? Lack of anonymity, and but very good, warm culture. People are very sweet, very welcoming, very, very welcoming. So these are the major differences, and I loved both the places. I never faced any difficulty anywhere, and I loved the culture both ways, and both the places were very nice for me.
So what does power means to you, and how would you define the saying that with great power comes the great responsibilities?
Gaurav, power for me basically means lot of responsibility because power can never be seen in isolation. For example, I'll give you, like, if you are signing one order, you putting a signature to an order basically means a lot for the other person whose order you are signing. It is not that arbitrarily you can use your power and you can make any addition in any of the orders that you make on a regular basis. You cannot do that. So you have to be responsible enough to do proper investigation and do proper work wherein you are able to establish and prove your case and do justice to the other person. So it is not that you are sitting on the seat of power and you start taking decisions arbitrarily. So power to me means taking decisions with considering full responsibility for those decisions. I think that is very important.
So, how has been your journey from Assistant Manager India Bull Venture Limited to Joint Commissioner Income Tax?
Okay, that's a very nice question. That's a very nice question. In fact, because when I joined India Bulls, I was assistant relationship manager. See, that time I had never imagined that I will be assistant commissioner or joint commissioner one day. But definitely, I had this belief that I will be able to crack this civil services examination. This belief had always been there. And when I was in India Bulls, I used to do a lot of cold calling. And after I used to come back from the field, I used to have list of phone numbers, mobile numbers, and the client names with me. And I used to, because for I had to set up the appointment for the next day. And the next day, who all people I'm meeting, I have to set up the appointments. And because my day should not go waste, I have to meet my monthly targets, and I cannot afford to be on the lower side of my targets. So I used to do a lot of cold calls, and that used to involve a lot of efforts. It is not at all easy because again, I told you about rejection thing, right? So you face a lot of rejection, and this rejection basically it's all your perspective. The rejection can make you lose, the rejection can make you strong. So it depends on your perspective, the way you take it. So I have faced a lot of rejection on the cold calls. Also, people used to talk very badly. At times they used to shun you over the phone call, and at times they used to abuse you also. That don't call me ever again, and I'll report to the police. And how did you get my number and all of that blah blah. So those things have happened, and so from those days, becoming a civil servant, a bureaucrat of the country, and achieving the dream that I've always wanted to be in and the place where I always wanted to be. So I feel the transition had been great, really great. And I feel so proud of myself because these successes basically give you a lot of confidence in life. And if you don't achieve what you want, again, it's a matter of perspective. You may get shattered, or you may make new goals for yourself and you try to achieve your new goals. So the transition has been great, and definitely when I was in India Bulls, I never used to feel that I can take any decision, or I am holding that power to take decisions, or my decisions will matter for anyone. No, because I was at the lowest rung doing my day-to-day sales job. But when I came into bureaucracy, definitely in bureaucracy, you feel the power and you feel that, your decisions basically have an impact. What I say and what I speak, and, the way how I interact with my assessees, and, and especially with respect to the grievance redressals, when people come to you with your grievances, at times, people lose their cool. They just raise their voice sitting inside your room, and sitting with their return in their hands, and they'll just shout over you, and they'll just say, my refund is not coming, my rectification is not happening, nobody's attending me, nobody's doing anything in the department. They will basically portray a picture wherein you will feel as if the department is doing nothing. But see, at that point, basically your mental strength comes into play. How does it come into play? Because of your strong mental strength, you feel that we need to cool down, everything is fine. It is just that this person is troubled. This person has not got his refund. He is in need of his money, his own hard-earned money. You just need to empathize. That's it. Offer him a glass of water, offer him a cup of tea, have a chit-chat, and the person is fine. The heavens have not fallen down. It's okay. It's okay. So this is the way you deal with the situations. This is the way you handle people. The handling of people have become all the more important now, because the public interface, whenever you have this kind of a public interface, the handling of people becomes all the more important.
So this is the what the transition is all about, and I'm really happy about it, Gaurav.
So, what was the most challenging task of your journey?
See, there have been lot many challenges, but when you talk about most challenging, then in the initial part of your career, when you have faced certain difficulties, I think they become all the more challenging because at that time you are very raw, and that time you are not very well aware about a lot many things happening around, and you are basically a learner. I'm a learner right now also. It's not that you stop learning in your life. But yes, the most challenging, I would say, when I did my first survey action in Mumbai. And during my first survey action, honestly telling you, when I got income tax, I went for my training. I was very well aware about income tax rates. And income tax rates always used to fascinate me. Read a lot about it, heard lot many stories from lot many people. But this was the first raid basically in real terms that I was going to make, which we call as search or survey action. So my first survey action in Mumbai was the most challenging for me because it was all about, managing your team. Your entire team is basically looking up to you because it is your case. You have developed a case. Entire team is looking up to you. You are the person who is most aware about all the issues involved in this assessee's case. Now, when you go with the entire team to the assessee's premises, this was an office premise where we had went. So we had went somewhere in the afternoon, and our survey action basically lasted overnight, and for somewhere around 40 hours around. So it lasted for somewhere around 39 40 hours around, and that was the biggest challenge for me because we had gone there during afternoon time, and from afternoon till evening only few hours had passed, and my team was feeling little tired. They had started by around 8 o'clock 9 o'clock. They were feeling little tired, but I was the person who had to maintain the momentum. I was the person who had to tell my team people that no, this is the time wherein we have to pull up our socks. This is the time wherein basically have to screw the issues and maintain the momentum and do not lose that strength and motivation from inside. Because see, if we lose it down, then again the entire assessee's premises, all the people who are staying there, they will feel very cool about it. They will not feel any pressure. In order to maintain the pressure, you have to show that you are very motivated, you are full of energy, and you are ready to work, right? See, this is all psychological as well. It is not that physically you are standing in front of someone and you are creating pressure. No, you create pressure psychologically basically. So that was the day I ensured that I'm not sleeping during the night. There were a couple of people who had actually slept. I was the person who actually motivated my entire team throughout the entire night. We didn't sleep. Not a single person from our team slept. And we were just like moving from here and there. And we were just creating an impression on the SSC that, we are all a motivated team and we are here to do our job. And it's not that like if the team is staying overnight, you will see a lethargic kind of income tax team in front of you. No, because since it was my first action, my first survey action, and I was trying to create a picture wherein we are a whole lot of motivated bunch and doing our best in the field. So that was my most challenging task, and I think I was fairly successful. And my boss also was really happy later on, and it went off really well, and I'm really happy about it. Yeah.
So, what's that one thing you love about your professional journey the most?
There's so many things actually, I love. See, I have been fortunate enough, thankfully, that I got a metro city, Mumbai, and I got to stay in Mumbai for very long. And after that, I got a very good city, Amritsar. See, all the places are not good. As a person, you may not like all the places. And I'm not in a position right now to say whether I would have liked or I would not have liked because I've just worked in two places. And I loved both the places. So it's not that maybe I can't say. Maybe in some of the interior places, maybe had I been placed, maybe I would not have liked much. But again, I can't say right now. I've been very fortunate, thankfully. And I would say the best part about my professional journey is that, we get to work at good places. And because being in income tax, definitely income tax, it'll all be in good places. The offices would be in good places. And you'll get to work in all those places. So I think this is the best part. And moreover, in Indian revenue services, your impact is huge.
I've always felt that the satisfaction that you derive by being in a position to help someone, to solve somebody's prolonged problem. People today have been facing a lot of problem in terms of refund, in terms of their rectification orders. See, in today's date, if I'll say 2022, definitely things have automatized. So we have CPC Bangalore, and we have automatic refunds happening, and we have lot many automation happening in the department. But I'm talking about, some 10 years back when I joined the department, things were not that automated, and we had physical rectification application, rectification orders, physical orders coming up wherein we had to pass the orders and order giving effect. And, giving an order giving effect to an appellate order also used to take a lot of time earlier. And people used to have a lot of grievances that their order giving effects are not passed, and accordingly they are not getting the proper demand status for them, whether they have any demand pending in the department or some refund is pending. So they never used to make out that thing at that point of time. But now I think things have become a lot of automated, and things are happening very quickly in the department now. So I think I'm very happy. Things are automated in the department. I think what else do you want in the department? If you're working in such a IT friendly department, wherein you get to see all the best practices taking place in the department, you get to see very senior, experienced officials at the helm of the affairs, taking decisions and bringing about new innovations and processes in the government setup. What else do you want? I'm very happy about it.
So, who is your mentor in your professional journey?
My mentor. Oh, I have got a lot to speak about him. And my mentor, I would say, is Mr. Pradeep Shori Arya. Mr. Pradeep Arya, see, whatever I will say will be very less, because he is a person about whom, a movie has also been made, and a book has been, a chapter of the book has been dedicated to him. And he is the person who had the capability of serving in the army at the same time. Being an additional commissioner, income tax, he had been serving in the territorial army at the same time. And that's not enough. He had killed a terrorist at the border. He was awarded Shaurya Chakra by the President of India. He had many, achievements in his kitty. And I would recommend that to know more about him, you visit his profile on LinkedIn or maybe Facebook or Twitter. He's very active on Twitter, by the way. He has mentored me really well, because he was my immediate boss in transfer pricing. And I've learned a lot from him, and the way he used to work. The best part I liked about him, about my mentor, was every single day when I used to visit his cabin in the morning, it's a very good thing to learn. He always used to be ready with a piece of paper on his diary. So for one particular day, one single page used to be dedicated, and that particular page used to be divided into two parts. On one side, he used to write professional, and on the other side, he used to write personal. So the major professional task to be accomplished during the day, and the major personal task to be accomplished during the day. And you won't believe it, I started, copying him. And I've also started making a diary for myself. And in my office, you will always see one diary, professional and personal. So two tables always ready before me. So when you start the day and when you have these tasks ready before you, so it will not be difficult for you to carry forward the day now, because now you know what all major tasks are to be accomplished during the day. So I think it's a very important characteristic of a leader, and a lot to learn from him. Yeah.
So, how would you define success, and what is the role of hard work, smart work, and luck in achieving success?
Gaurav, according to me, success is something which you don't get it in one single day. Success is something, I'll tell you, my sociology professor in Vajiram, what he used to tell me was, every single day when you do the hard work, you come closer to the success. Every single day, like the day schedule you have made, and the entire schedule, if you're able to complete it satisfactorily by the end of the day, you come closer to the success. It is not that you will become an IAS or an IRS officer one single day. That doesn't happen. You are becoming an IAS or an IRS every single day of your preparation journey. You are coming closer to it. And the moment the exam happens, you perform, and then you succeed. So success is basically nothing but a result of your sheer hard work and determination. I think that's all about it.
So, what was the reason to start your study again?
I always had this aspiration to study from an Ivy League university, and I always had been, targeting Harvard, Columbia, Chicago. So, in fact, this time when I was preparing for my GRE, I had applied only in two colleges, Columbia and Chicago, and I got acceptance in both of them. So I preferred the Columbia over above Chicago. My aspiration has always been to study, and although it was very difficult, after having worked for 12 years in the department, and getting back into the study groove becomes all the more difficult because you have been working in the field and you are completely out of touch from that regular class routines and all, the regular class lectures, presentations, and all of that. So it gets really difficult. But again, I really felt that, when you take a break from your routine work and when you get back to the studies, you get a lot of time to introspect and enhance your capabilities and skills. See, over the past 12 years, I have learned many things in the field, and good exposure, Mumbai and Amritsar, very good exposure, good working overall, and I've almost worked in all the divisions of the department. Now, after getting that exposure for so many years, now when you take a break, take a sabbatical, and when you study, and when like here I'm studying international finance and economic policy, and I've got a specialization in data analytics and quantitative analysis. So here, when I study these subjects, and when I study the capital markets here, when I study the economic policy, microeconomic analysis here, I can relate the things with the field work that I've done. Now, here I personally feel that the time has come wherein we need to raise our bar a little bit. It's all about enhancing your benchmark. How do you raise your bar? You raise your bar by creating a base work for yourself, and then on top of that, when you study certain major things in your life, just like I talked about the subjects that I'm studying here. So when I relate the concepts of those subjects with my field work, I get a very foundational understanding about how the things can be enhanced, how the capabilities can be enhanced. It's not about just working and doing your routine work day in and day out. It's all about enhancing the capabilities as well. How do you enhance your way of working? How do you see the bigger picture? How do you see the climate changes and its effect on the government? How do you see the economic policies taking shape up in the United Nations and in a war torn Ukraine? So when you see these bigger pictures, so it makes you a global citizen. As a global citizen, as a global tax administrator, as a global government official, you will be able to think not only about the country but also about the world, and what and how your domestic policies can have worldwide impact. What all best practices from all across the world you can implement in your country, what all things are taking place all across the world. It's all about just relating your basic foundational concepts with your field work, and then you create different work of your own. I know I've talked a little philosophical, but again, this is something which is there in my mind, and I'm trying to create something at a bigger level. So that was my primary reason to be here. Yeah.
So, what advice would you like to give to officers who want to upgrade their knowledge?
I have been in touch with many officers in India, and many of my colleagues have got in touch with me. And people have been asking, like, Manpreet, you are there, and how do we go about it? Like, we also want to do it. My only advice to people who have been thinking about, taking a sabbatical and going for higher studies would be that, it's very important to, come out of your comfort zone. See, we still have a very low ratio of the number of officers taking a sabbatical and going out for higher studies. The ratio is very, very less still. Although we have this opportunity,
we have the provision of study leave, and the government gives you this provision that you can take a study leave and you can go for higher studies taking a sabbatical. But again, why the ratio is very less? I personally believe the ratio is less because, see, it's very difficult to come out of your comfort zone and doing something like this. See, if I'm doing this, it is not that it's very easy for me sitting here. See, my family is back in Mumbai, and I'm staying here and struggling in day out, and attending the classes. Although initially it was a little difficult, more difficult, but now, okay, I have adapted to the situation now. So it is difficult. What I mean to say, it is actually very difficult. But again, if you want to do this, you definitely require a little extra work, a little extra effort to come out of your comfort zone. And the learning will never go waste. I personally believe that whatever you learn in your life stays with you. This is something nobody can take away from you. Learning whatever you have learned in your past as well, and whatever you will learn by doing higher education, pursuing higher education, nobody can take away from you. And this is the way you can contribute back to your society. This is the way you go back as an enhanced person and a more learned person, with more learning, with more factual clarity, with more conceptual clarity. You give back to your organization, and you go back as a well-read person. So I really believe that people should go for higher studies, and it's all about taking that little extra step. That's it, nothing more.
So generally basically स्टूडेंट से ऑफिसर जब बंदा बनता है तो पूछा जाता है भी क्या चैलेंज है. आपके केस में इट्स रिवर्स कि पावर से विदाउट पावर इन बीइंग ए स्टूडेंट अगेन वाज इट डिफिकल्ट टू ऑप्ट एज ए स्टूडेंट एंड basically go into student life again?
Becoming a student again after having worked for some 12 years in the field, see, it's not easy, but again, it's not difficult as well. If you have that learning mindset, that I have to get that learning, I have to get that exposure, and see, everything is not all about learning also. I must tell you, because when you study in these Ivy Leagues or whichever foreign universities you apply for, see, the best advantage I have personally experienced is that, like, it's been around 4.5 months here in Colombia now, in New York. And what I have seen here in Colombia is that, you get a multi-community setting. Now, in the classes, like, you will have a Chinese student, and you'll have a person from Indonesia sitting next to you. You'll have an American sitting ahead, a Mexican sitting next to you, and then you have, group assignments here. Now, whatever subjects you have group assignments, and all the groups are randomly formed. It is not that you are creating a group. So the groups are randomly formed. In those groups, like 4 or 5 people, whosoever are there, every week you have to submit the assignments. Every week deadlines are there. Every single week the grading will be happening. So when the grades matter, and when it's a matter of grade, so basically you cannot take it lightly. You basically have to work, and you have to enhance your performance with every assignment, and you have to submit it nicely. So then all those meetings have to take place. You have to coordinate. If I have 5 different subjects, 5 different groups will be there. Now imagine, in 5 different groups we'll have everybody from different countries. Now in this multi-community setting, what you learn is, you basically learn about culture, how people behave in different cultures, how you adjust with those people, how you talk with those people, what are their qualities. Are these people actually good at certain things and they are not good at certain things? Like, I personally felt that, the Chinese and Japanese, they're not very good in expressions. Like, they cannot express the things very nicely the way maybe the Mexicans or the Indians or the Americans express. So these are certain things you tend to understand. And like, the Mexicans are very good with numbers, very, very good with numbers, and few people are very good with economics. And Indians are very good with they're very good with numbers, they're very good with expressions, they're very good in asking questions in the classes. So this is one difference I've seen. One of the Japanese friend I met, he came to me and he said that, I want to ask questions like you. I don't take it as a compliment here, but what I personally felt was that the person from Japan was basically facing a difficulty in expressing because of the language problem. But still, they are trying their best, they do their best again. And Japanese are also very good at certain things. So basically what I mean to say here is that in the multi-community setting, you tend to learn many things. And when you go abroad, again, you adjust yourself to the new surroundings, how the US culture is there. I always, tend to compare the US airports with the Indian airports. Now, I find Indian airports very fascinating. Indian airports are much, much better than US airports. So the JFK airport I saw here at New York, I thought it requires a lot of improvement here. My Lucknow airport is much, much better than the JFK airport, I personally felt. But again, likewise, like in India, there are certain things which I can implement learning from US. In US, there are so many things which are so good, and there are so many things which are not so good. in which India is much, much better. So how will you develop this understanding? You cannot develop this understanding, staying in India. So if you want this global understanding, if you want to enhance your perspectives, increase your horizon. So you can increase your horizon by moving out of your comfort zone. Once you move out of your comfort zone, then only you'll be in a position to compare the things. Otherwise, I cannot compare the things sitting back in my country. So I think this overall learning has been really good. It's just been 4 months. I have not seen much here, although. But yes, I personally believe that my next few months, whatever I have here, I think will be a good learning experience overall. I intend to take a lot from here back to my country.
So, what are do's and don'ts you would suggest while preparing for UPSC examination?
First, let us talk about the do's. In the do's, I would say that I have personally felt that the students in our country, they're lacking guidance. They are basically lacking guidance. I would say 90% of the students lack guidance, because whomsoever I have met, whatever lectures I have given, whatever gatherings I have addressed, the student gatherings basically, I have always felt that students are basically, they just don't have idea. In India, we have preconceived notions about certain professions, and wherein the parents say that doctor, lawyer, engineer. So these are the three pack professions that the parents have been talking about, then parents have been teaching. And see, it's not mistake of the parents also, because parents, whatever they learned, whatever the exposure they have, they try to give it to their children, right? But again, I believe that, like, if I am in the civil services, it is my duty to guide whosoever approaches me and whosoever is willing to do this or pursue this civil services as his or her own career. So the very first do, I think, is do the research work, which I never did at my 10+2 turning point, which we had discussed in detail earlier. So I think the very important point is that do your research work, do the SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is basically strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Like if I take up civil services, what are the opportunities I will get? What are the obstacles or the challenges that are involved? So I think this is very important. Do the cost benefit analysis. You first of all decide upon the subject and the place that you want to study. Do you have adequate finances? Or if the finances, because see, if you go to Rajendra Nagar, or if you go out of your city basically to stay at some other place, the rental expenditure will be there, the tuition fees will be there. So these expenditures will have to be catered for, right? So you need to be sure, like if you want to take up civil services and if you are planning to study outside your city, then these things have to be taken care of. So the planning has to be made. Then after that, then the subject that you want to take, the coaching institute, if you're planning to join one, so which coaching institute you're planning to join. And once these basics are ready, then you have to decide whether you have that much stamina to run this race. This is a long race. It is not a short distance 100-meter sprint. It is a marathon. Now for this marathon, you need a lot of training. Marathons cannot be run in one single day. For marathons, you need training. And what is this training? This training is a mental training. The mental training that you require is nothing but the determination. Just make yourself very strong. A few days back, I was just discussing with few of my friends here in Colombia. Few Indian friends who want to pursue civil services after Colombia. That's amazing. I really liked it. And, I told them that, we just happened to had a discussion about this. And they also asked me this question, that like the determination that I just talked about, that how do you keep yourself so determined throughout this entire journey? Because it's a 1 year long procedure, 1 year long examination. It is not that you just give one exam, after 2 months you get the result. No. And moreover, if you give prelims, if you give mains, and if you falter in mains, then again you have to give prelims. You're back to ground zero. It is not that you will get some credit for your prelim clearance or mains clearance, in the previous attempt. So there's nothing like that. So when we talk about determination, how do you keep yourself motivated? When I had this discussion at Columbia here, I just told them, and I was just reminded about, my strategies, and very well, I can share my strategies, how I used to keep myself motivated throughout this entire journey. So For this determination and motivation throughout, you just need to create certain things in your mind. Our mind is a very big creator. What you think, you become, basically, right? And what you tell your mind basically happens. And I always used to tell my mind that, whenever I used to feel very low, whenever I used to feel that, dejected, or whenever I used to score very low marks in any of the test series that I had joined there during the preparation times. So during those difficult times, during those low moments, during the times when I used to feel that, no, all my friends are enjoying their life, they're moving the world, they're roaming around in the world abroad, and they're having a very good time. I'm myself, sitting in this one small room, just doing nothing, studying all the time, with no results in sight. Because see, in civil services, you will not get the results immediately. The results you will get to see after 1 year only. It is not that you will get the results immediately, but it is all about telling yourself that you have to remain determined. Now, in all those difficult times and all these low times, I just used to tell myself, I had created this story for myself. I'm just sharing with you that how will my parents feel if I will get selected and my name appears in the merit list. The expression on the face of my parents, I just used to imagine. This imagination, used to give me so much strength. I just can't explain. I'm speaking right now, I'm feeling those goosebumps in my body right now, because this is such a strong feeling, and this is such a strong emotion with which I was attached to. If my name appears in the merit list, and if my parents see my name in the merit list, how would they feel? Simply, I just used to ask this question to me in all those low times. See, this is a story, an emotion created by me. It is not existing, but it is created by me in my mind for myself. Likewise, you can create any of your emotion. How would you feel, or what will you do, or any aspiration that you have, that if this then that, if this then that theory is there, IFTTT. So you can create your own stories and your own motivational objectives, anything with which you feel motivated. So I think this thing is very important, and if you're able to do this, you will be able to succeed, and you will be able to hold back in this entire journey, because this journey is like a wave. One day you will feel on the top of the world, and the other day you will be like shattered, doomed, and you'll feel that as if I just need to stop over this journey, and I just need to stop all of this, and I just need to get back to my corporate job and fancy job, fancy offices. I just need to get back there. I can't do this civil services. But again, it is your purpose, and most important thing, the sacredness of your goal. The more sacred your goal is, I had made my goal very, very sacred. The more sacred your goal is, the more attached you will remain to your purpose. I always used to think and tell myself that civil services is something that I want to do. And all during my low times, bad times, I always used to think that, if I'm not performing, or if I'm not able to, finish my schedule during the day, whatever schedule I've set for myself, if I'm not able to complete it, let's say I had to finish 4 chapters during a day. And if I'm not able to finish my 4 chapters, despite my complete hard work, can you imagine? I literally used to try and weep. No, that was so foolish on my part. Again, I would say that was very foolish on my part. But again, why I used to cry? I used to cry because my goal of civil services was so sacred for me. It used to be like my religion, just like you pray God. It used to be so sacred. And if you're not able to fulfill that, I used to feel that if I'm not able to complete my task, I will not be a civil servant. And slowly and steadily, every single day, it piles up. And these are very small successes. That is why I, like in the initial introduction when you mentioned, and I really live by that motto. Small micro wins basically leads to staggering results. My favorite author, Robin Sharma, talks about it in all his books. I've read all his books, and everywhere he talks about it. Don't focus on your final goal all the time. Focus on these small micro wins. These micro wins will take you to that goal, and that is very, very important. So I think the do's part that we had just talked about, I think this is very important, and overall this gets covered here. So this is what all the aspirants need to take care of, and need to be very thorough with what they want to do in their life. Now, coming on to the don'ts, I would say what not to read is very important. What not to study is very important. Civil services is like a big universe, big galaxy. And in this entire galaxy, you can't study everything. So you need to be very clear, and especially in the subjects that you're studying. And general studies, definitely you have to study everything. But again, in the subjects that you're studying, you need to be clear with the previous year papers. Go through the previous year papers, see what has been the pattern, what all kinds of questions have been asked, what is the focus of the examiner, what kind of questions they are asking, and how they are asking, how are they framing, what kind of analysis do they want, and what kind of qualities that they want from you. Are they only focusing on the concepts, or are they actually wanting you to write something about the practical applications also? Like for in the subject of, I'll give you an example of public administration. Like in public administration paper 2, in paper 2 what they ask is they'll just ask you general questions about Indian scenario, let's say Indian political scenario. Now, Indian political scenario, let's say you take an example of Panchayati Raj. Now, in Panchayati Raj, you can always start with your foundational concepts of thinkers. Start with the thinkers, start with their theories, what they have talked about, and then you come on to their practical applications in the Indian scenario. How this Panchayati Raj came up, and how is this beneficial for the society? So likewise in sociology, I always used to, when I gave one lecture at Wajiram, in fact, and people were laughing at that time when I told them, the best strategy to write answers is to prepare a good khichdi. And why do I call it khichdi? Khichdi is like a masala khichdi. The more masala you put in, and the tastier it becomes. And what is this khichdi all about? This khichdi is a mixture of the thinkers. Start with the thinkers, start with their theories, start with their conceptual foundations. Start with that, then you come on to the Indian scenario. You talk about the field formations, we talk about the field applications, the practical applications of those theories, and then you give real life examples, the case studies, the diagrams. So when you prepare your answer in this manner, then can you imagine the person who is reading your answer, are you giving him any reason not to be impressed? When you write all of this, well, are you giving him any reason not to be impressed? He'll be flattered over your answer. So that's how you secure marks. That's how you make your answers more impressive. So, that is why I'm saying that it's very important what not to read. Focus and concentrate what is more required, and that concentration and that focus will come more when you study the patterns of the exam. When you study the previous 10-year papers, you study the questions. You study the relevant books, the relevant things. In general knowledge also, don't go for everything. Focus on certain newspapers, the Hindu, any particular 1 or 2 magazines. That's it. Focus on that and gulp it. Just gulp it. And not only gulp it, when you read the newspaper articles, especially the editorials, the Hindu editorials. And Hindu was like a Bible for us, and it will remain a Bible for the civil services aspirants. And when you read the Hindu, in Hindu, when you read the article, just don't read the article. Like if anything is written on climate change, I'll give you a very nice example. Recently, COP27 has just got over. We had this Bali declaration just this month, November month, 2022. So when you read all of this, and when you see that, okay, we have a fight between global north and global south, okay, the fight is happening, okay, there are certain emission targets which these countries are not able to meet. Then they have a focus on alternative fuels. And what do you think? If you are a student of sociology, what will you think? The very first thing that should come to your mind is Karl Marx. Now read these articles. I study COP27 from the perspective of Karl Marx. What did Karl Marx say? Karl Marx talked about haves and have-nots. What are haves and have-nots? It's global north and global south. Global north are the rich people who are dictating the terms in this world. What is global south? Global south are the developing nations basically who are in need of money, who need finances to invest in the alternative fuels. So when you read and study the articles from these perspectives, you will automatically start making answers. Now, when in the civil services mains exam, let's say in general studies, if this question is asked on climate change, now can't you include, or let's say a question is asked in the paper of sociology, let's say sociology subject, and they ask you the theories of Karl Marx, let's say conflict theory. Okay, you write about conflict theory. Then what if you include climate change, COP27, Bali Declaration as well in your answer? And you make a nice analysis there and you prepare a nice khichdi. Are you giving any reason to the examiner not to be impressed? That's how you do it. And that makes the most impact. And see, I am giving you the example only from the subjects that I have studied, like public administration and sociology were my subjects. Likewise, you may happen to meet various other successful candidates who have had different other subjects, and accordingly, you basically get the idea. Like I'm just trying to give you an idea, like what exactly is to be done and how it is to be done, and rest is the smart work. The smarter you get, the higher you score. That's about it.
So, what would be your advice to young graduates who are just entering their professional journey?
So, young graduates who are just starting their professional journey, I would suggest that whenever you enter any organization, don't get highlighted. It is very important. It is very, very important. Enter the organization nicely, slowly, calmly, subtly. And once you enter, once you understand the working of the organization, then you always can get highlighted later on. But always give yourself some time to get acclimatized and adapted to the culture of the organization. I think that is very important. Another thing is always stay true to yourself and always have deadlines for yourself. Because in the professional journey in your office, if you work without deadlines, basically, you are just floating in the dark, you're just aiming at the sky without any sight. And always have targets for yourself, always have deadlines for yourself. And I think that is very important. Always respect your seniors, always respect your seniors, and always respect your colleagues. Because see, colleagues, your seniors, your staff people, if you don't have respect for them and if you show any kind of arrogance or something like that, these are the people with whom you have to work. And if you don't have maintain good relations with them, if you don't have a good culture with them, then definitely people will start creating obstacles for you. Third thing, office politics. Office politics will always be there. It's a global phenomenon. Office politics will always be there. Don't get affected. The very first thing what I said was, if you stay true to yourself, if you stay true to what you are doing, and then these kind of politics will never matter, never bother. If you don't get something, it's not that it's the end of the world, because if you have faith in your capabilities, you will always get something better. This is the bottom line. Just have faith in yourself, keep learning, always be a learner on the go wherever you are. Never ever feel that you have got a job and you have got a nice cushy job in a nice corporate office, nice corporate room, and sea face room with a glass window and nice environment overall. Never feel that is the destination. When I got into IRS, I could have easily felt that IRS is my destination. I always wanted this, IRS is my destination. But again, I felt that IRS has given me a very good platform. IRS has never been a destination for me. It is a good platform for me to improve, to learn, and become a better human being. I think that is the primary reason I'm here at Columbia studying and just trying my bit, to learn a little more and make myself a better person. That's it. So I think just be a good learner and you'll succeed wherever you are.
So, any particular question which you still remember from your interview time for UPSC examination?
Yeah, I very well remember in my fourth interview, I was asked this question, and basically he made me the sports secretary of the country. Because, just because of my sports background, and I'd been into athletics, and I've got a lot many medals in athletics. So from the sports background, he just framed this question and he made me a sports secretary of the country. And he said that I make you the sports secretary, and now you have to tell me how will you make the world-class teams for this country, and how do you intend to improve the infrastructure overall, the nutrition levels and all of that, So just tell me and frame the policy for the country. So that moment, this question was so near and dear to my heart. I just can't tell you. And I spoke continuously for some 10-15 minutes without stopping. And I had so many ideas in my mind already. That initial Kanpur meet I told you, the initial Kanpur's athletic meet came to my mind, wherein I ran without spikes, and I did not have people around me to guide me, and I did not have any nutritionist with me. Just imagine if you have such good infrastructure at the school level, what kind of athletes you will produce. And I really believe that had I got all of that, maybe I would not have been sitting here and I would have been playing for the country today. But again, I don't have any dissonance or something. But again, I feel that if you create that kind of an infrastructure, like we have, in Patiala, we have this institute for sports. So NIS, National Institute of Sports. I have personally been there to interview the coaches there, during my MBA internship. So I was creating blueprint to create a, world-class Indian football team. And during that internship, I had taken that project and I had been there. So anyways, what I mean to say is that when they asked me this question and I started speaking and I was unstoppable, and I started from the grassroots level, talked about all the, problems that we have and the lack of facilities that we have, the lack of infrastructure, the lack of coaches, lack of nutrition, lack of money, then lack of good stadiums, lack of equipments, and and the lack of mindset. Lack of mindset is very important. Why? Because today, like if I dropped out of athletics, why did I drop out? Because I did not see a future in athletics. See, if I had seen a future that I will get some very good opportunity, or maybe I'll be able to do something really well for the country, I would have stuck to it. No. But civil services aim was more dearer to me because I saw a future in civil services than athletics. So that mindset at the ground level is very important. So I think this question was very, very important, very, very nice one, wherein I also got a very good score too. I scored 219 out of 300 in my fourth interview. So this journey I was telling, all the 4 interviews. So the first interview 80 marks, second interview 114, third interview 196, and fourth interview 219. I'm very happy. I'm very proud of my progression.
So now we'll start our rapid round. Success in one line.
Success in one line, I would say responsibility.
Your favorite destination.
Favorite destination, Amritsar.
Your favorite adventure.
Favorite adventure, I would say Ambi Valley, near Pune.
Your favorite actor and actress.
My favorite actor has always been Salman Khan, and my favorite actress has been Shilpa Shetty.
Your favorite color.
Blue.
Second choice of career.
I have always seen myself as a taxman, and at any point of time, I can't see anything outside tax. So let's say if I will be doing anything as a second career in my life, maybe few years down the line, it will be something in and around tax.
So at last, one line that defines you.
Very optimist, very, very optimist, and a go-getter in life, wherein I have always believed in learning, and learning should be a process. And wherever you are, it cannot be the final place for you, because if it becomes the final place, you will start stagnating in your life. So wherever you are, that should be a platform for you to become a better person. And I've always focused on micro wins, and micro wins always leads to staggering results.
Thank you very much for your precious time and sharing your life journey plus different type of advices that you have shared on our show. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Okay, Gaurav, thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure, sir.